What is going on, FA Nation? John Pimpa here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Playbook live show. It is Wednesday. We have a 11-game main slate that is more than likely going to be a 10-game main slate with Minnesota, Cincinnati dealing with some rain that is going to impact the likelihood of this game starting today. And if it does start, it's more than likely going to go into a delay and then may never come back. We have about half the games on this slate with the rain symbol. And if you go and check out the Roth weather report, a lot of orange, a lot of yellow on today's slate. So the wet weather is going to be impacting some of these games and maybe some of the lineup decisions that we make. Earlier game today, Pittsburgh, Detroit already got postponed just to kind of highlight the weather that's going on in sort of the middle part of the country here. Grande, you did the playbook today, man. How did you navigate this wet weather we're having?
I didn't. It's all the good games. You just kind of take it as it's going to play until you get the Roth update that it's not, right?
Sure.
So we'll adjust, but I really like Cincinnati. Now I don't like Cincinnati as much, so we'll get into it. But yeah, it's a interesting slate because it's Chicago again. We talked about that yesterday, but Chicago has both teams at home, and there's rain in Chicago.
Yeah.
So that's also a concern. It's going to rain in New York. That's a concern for the Yankees-Angels game, a game that is wildly popular for a team that hasn't scored in 29 innings.
Yeah, they're banking on the odds there, I think, of like
yes.
I mean, they have a 5.9 implied run.
Yeah, it's
for a team that has scored 0 runs in the last 29 innings.
0. Literally 0.
Highest implied run total on the board today for a team that hasn't scored a run in about a week. So
yeah, so it's an interesting slate because you mentioned the weather and the factors that it's going to play today. So should be fun.
We'll figure it out. We'll see who today's Kyle Hendricks will be.
He hadn't struck that many batters out since 2020.
I believe it. I mean,
2021 rather. 2021.
I think our guy Mark Pitts jumped on the chat yesterday and said he's throwing 86 miles an hour. Like, how's he striking guys out? And struck on 9. Red in Cincinnati. Cincinnati not playing. We think we do. We think that cancellation set up a scuba skiing tomorrow. That'd be fun. But yeah, we're not expecting this Cincinnati game to play based off of the much smarter weatherman, the actual meteorologist Kevin Roth and his reporting there. So,
basically what he's saying is unless they wait until 11 p.m. Central, they will not play. And that is, you're basically finishing a baseball game at 2 a.m. Central, 3 a.m. East. Like, that's criminal.
Unless they just like swing at everything, right? They're one of those speed games, that we see teams play every once in a while.
So 1 a.m. Central, earliest finish.
But yeah, half the games on the slate have rain, so we'll have to navigate our way through it. Your top price starting pitcher and top rostered starting pitcher today is Chris Sale. He is in a game that could have some rain, but that's because it's Atlanta and it's the summer-ish time, so there's always live or some pop-up thunderstorms. That game is at least considered to be relatively safe. We'll see what happens in that one. Framber Valdez is $10,500. It is going to it's been 100 degrees in Sacramento today. It's going to be mid-90s when that game starts. We've talked all season long about, this ballpark in general being like an offensive haven. And then there were reports that they were going to do their best to limit the day games in this ballpark because of the heat and humidity. And now they're playing a night game anyways, in a game that's going to be mid-90s with that heat and humidity. So, not so much of like attacking Framber, I guess, but like when it comes to the other side of this matchup, we're obviously going to have a lot of Houston probably in our lineups against Severino. But are you fading Framber in this spot as well?
I think there's obviously like some merit to using him in tournaments because nobody's going to. but I think you save that for a different slate, unfortunately. Because I think there's such good pitching around him. Chris Sale looks great. The other two pitchers below him looked awesome. So on a different slate, even in the poor weather, I'd consider it because you're talking about a guy who just simply keeps the ball on the ground, doesn't allow home runs. And whether it's hot or not, if you're striking out 11 guys, it doesn't matter what the Athletics try to do. So on a different slate, I'd probably go there. On this slate, it's definitely a little risky.
All right. If not Sale, where else are we looking to go here today?
So I definitely love Sale for the record. Just put that out there. We didn't really talk about it, but he's great. I think I'm surprised to see Sonny Gray's ownership where it is, and I'd assume it has to do with the rain and maybe if that game comes around a little bit, there's a bump up in ownership. But it's obviously a good spot, and Sonny Gray has a wide range of outcomes, but his ceiling, I mean, he's got over 30 fantasy points 3 times in his last 7 starts, right? Just giving you the ceiling. He's also gone for less than 1 fantasy point in 2 of those 7. So in 5 of his last 7 starts, he's either had 30 or less than 1. Those 2 things are a wide range, but the ceiling is where you hang your hat in tournaments against the White Sox. As we lose John here, to the internet gods have got him, but I have to say, and I do think my favorite pitcher of the day, and I'll get a DraftKings I'll get the DraftKings board pulled up for us until we wait for John. But I do think my favorite pitcher of the day, other than Chris Sale, is Chris Bubich. And, Chris Bubich has an elite matchup. I wrote it over at fantasyalarm.com. Yeah, ISO cam. I did call for the ISO here. I got the ball in the post. No one can stop me now. I'm the captain now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the captain now. But yeah, I think Chris Bubich is probably my favorite pitcher of the day. And let me get this DraftKings board up for you guys. Gonna get the DraftKings board up, yeah. Gonna get the DraftKings board up, yeah. Paste that. And here we are. Okay. So, I think if I were to pin down one pitcher that I want to use today, it's Chris Bubich. The Texas Rangers are improving as an offense, but that's mainly against right-handed pitchers. Lefties this year, the rankings for Texas against lefties this year: 28th in OPS, 27th in WOBA, 25th in ISO, 26th in WRC plus, and they have a 26% strikeout rate. Those are the rankings for the Texas Rangers against left-handed pitching this year. I'd be hard-pressed to not just kind of ignore the Yankees start because Chris Bubich has been one of the league's best pitchers. So I'll go out on a limb and say he's my favorite pitcher of the day.
I'm back.
Jordan in 94.
Yeah, we're here. Sorry about that. Get a little animal interference.
And shut up the computer.
Cat's out here just clicking computer buttons, kicking me off the screen.
All right, whenever you want, you could take control, become the captain again of the screen, just when you get going. But I was basically just saying Chris Bubich is my number 1 pitcher of the day.
Okay.
So that's where
we leave off. All right, Bubich is in.
Yeah. Right. I'm good. I talked enough about him already, but he's my number 1 pitcher.
All righty. Where else are we looking to go then after you get Bubich against Texas? You work your way down into the mid-range. Is there a core target for you here today?
Yeah, I mean, the safest, most reliable option is Jameson Taillon. I would say he's best profiles in cash because this isn't a guy that we're relying upon strikeouts every time out. He does not strike a lot of guys out. Not always, sometimes. But Tyone has had 25 fantasy points, a bunch in 3 of his last 5.
Yep.
And he goes up against a Brewers team ranking 26th in OPS and then 25th in WOBA and WRC plus against righties. So, yeah, I think Tyone looks pretty good.
There's another one you're just kind of watching the weather with, right? Because the Chicago game, but obviously we were super high on him last night as well. Mizorowski, obviously no hitter before rolling his ankle in his debut, but tough spot there. I feel like when we did the show last night, we didn't really care for much in this like 7K range. You kind of gave a quick shout to Patrick Corbin. Ryan Yarbrough is mildly appealing at $6,500. We have the comment for Logan Allen in the chat. Like, is there another like value play for you today?
Yeah, I think Logan Allen's a really bad pitcher, and I'm not going to use him. I think he's been awful. Large portions. He's been bad against righties. He's been bad against lefties. Not going to use Logan Allen.
Mark, the Cincinnati game's not going to play today. We don't think so, at least. So Bailey Ober
unless something changes, and I also hate Bailey Ober. I would stack all the Reds. Also, don't like him today. I would say the 2 guys you mentioned would be the 2 guys that I like, and then we'll talk about Taj Bradley because he's getting a lot of ownership today.
Sure, strikeout upside there, right?
Yeah, I think Corbin is interesting. Obviously you had the Salvi breakout yesterday coincide with the Bobby Witt home run. So they got like home runs from all the guys they needed.
And Jack Leiter kind of sucks.
But Jack Leiter kind of stinks, right? We've talked about that now for 3 shows, and I'm happy that it's like finally, some of the stuff that we could talk about happens, right? Yeah. Like Randy Vasquez keeps skating by, and like all these pitchers just keep skating by, and you're like, okay, whatever. But I think you look at Corbin, he's obviously has a terrible track record the last couple of years. Whatever happened with him going to Texas has flipped his career upside down because he's been very good. Everything looks pretty legit. And Kansas City's, whether they had a good day yesterday or not, whole scale, they're a bad offense. Like 26th in OPS, 27th in WRC plus, 25th in WOBA, dead last in power. Against left-handed pitching this year. So it's not like a terrible option. I don't think there's like a ton of strikeouts in Patrick Corbin, but like I also don't think there's a huge gap in like Jamison Tyone and Patrick Corbin today, and you save $1,000 from those 2 pitchers. So I like Corbin. I like Yarbrough. When you really look at some of the stuff for the Angels, when you just like look at the numbers, right? You just 25th in WOBA, 25th in OPS, 29th in WOBA, 28.8% strikeout rate. 28.8% strikeout rate is a massive strikeout rate. And I'm not at all sitting here saying that like Ryan Yarbrough is this strikeout savant, because he's not. He has not ever profiled as a guy with like a lot of swing and miss or a lot of strikeout. 22.3% strikeout rate, pretty solid. 12.2% swinging strike rate, pretty solid. You know what both those numbers are, John? Both those numbers are better than Taj Bradley, who's getting a lot of ownership. I'm not saying it's bad ownership, and I'm not saying Taj Bradley is a bad option, because when you look at some of the stuff for Taj Bradley, all of the expected stuff, expected ERA, xFIP, Sierra, all like under 4 or right at 4. He has a massive ground ball rate. He doesn't really like, he was allowing home runs. He's only hasn't allowed like many of late because he does keep the ball on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he doesn't like really allow a lot of damage. The only thing is like Baltimore is a pretty good offense against. I mean, they're I shouldn't say pretty good. They are a good offense against right-handed pitching. They're top 10 in the league. They sat Adley today. That's really their only thing missing from the lineup. So it's like relatively full strength. But yeah, I mean, you could play a Ryan Yarbrough who's significantly cheaper than Taj Bradley at less ownership, who has a better strikeout rate, a better swinging strike rate, and is in a better matchup against the Angels. So that would be the direction I'd lean. Not that I think Taj is a bad pitcher or bad play.
I mean, on the most recent update, Taj is your second highest roster pitcher of the slate.
So. Right. That's why I wanted to just talk about him, because he is getting so much ownership. I do think Yarbrough is probably the better play, just given the matchup, given, Taj Bradley's not missing bats like he did last year. Although we've talked about that, like a lot of the stuff under the hood looks the same, but not generating as many swinging strikes.
They just get a hit, right? They're just timing him up better. So, all right, we got a catcher. Salvador Perez is your highest roster catcher today, hitting 5th against Patrick Corbin, as you mentioned. He's coming off of a 2 home run day. Seems maybe a bit reactionary. We also know that he is a very powerful hitter. Yanier Diaz is your number 2 there, going up against Severino at $3,600. We were kind of looking at Toronto here. Alejandro Kirk's $3,700, cleaned up against Eduardo Rodriguez. Just Toronto versus lefties has been a play we've kind of harped on this year. Thoughts here at catcher?
Yeah, I mean, on Corbin. I'd understand the Salvi thing, but like you said, that's recency bias, because, I mean, he's cheap and he hits home runs. So, like, if you get a 34, and he has multi-position eligibility, that also is baked into some of the ownership as well. But yeah, if you think Corbin regresses, then he's fine. I would say, if I'm spending up, I think there's the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are one of the best stacks of the day today. So I think Ivan Herrera would be an obvious play. If you're stacking Cardinals, he's been their best hitter against right-handed pitching. Burke has had a righty problem. He's had a lefty problem too, but he's had a really big righty problem, both on the surface and under the hood. So Ivan Herrera, who's been amazing for the Cardinals, would be my top spend. Okay. And then, Kirk, 37, Yanier, 36. If Caratini's in the lineup, 33. Severino has allowed all 6 of his home runs at home this year. 3 to lefties, 3 to righties. Righties have been the bugaboo to hit. I mean, over 300 average at home to righties. That's all Houston has. I mean, other than Victor Caratini and now Cooper Hummel, that's all they have. They just have righties, like righty on righty on righty. So I lean Diaz over Caratini, but if you need the savings, you can play Caratini. If you're not playing Patrick Corbin, like Fermin is another like punt option you could play. El Gary's homered in both the games he's played since being back. So no shortage of options here at catcher.
All right, at first base, again, obviously it's a large slate. There's a lot of top tier and top priced options. Ohtani is your number 1 with the dual positional eligibility. Salvador Perez, number 2 with the dual positional eligibility as well. But then it's pretty much nobody in the 4K range. It dumps all the way down into the 3 and even below. Curtis Mead is your 3rd highest. When we talked about this on the preview show as well, but him moving into that lineup because Tampa Bay will sit their lefties. Mead coming in at 13%. Christian Walker, all of Houston finally exploded in our group chat with Howard Bender today. I said the DFS player's dream last night was JP Sears handing the ball off to Osvaldo Bido as Houston went out there and just hung a massive number on the board. Where are you tonight when it comes to the rest of this first base position?
I love Vladdy. 4,500. Sure. Love Vladdy. Lefties look really good. So if I'm spending money on first, it's Vladdy or it's the 5% lefties.
Play right there. No one's really on Vladdy today.
Yeah, lefties. Erod getting hammered to righties and to lefties. 300 average for both. Love the lefties in LA. Kolek has a really big lefty problem. Over 2 home runs per 9 innings. 25% home run to fly ball rate is not good. So when he is getting hit in the air, it's leaving the yard. So love Ohtani, love Freeman, love Vladdy. I love Yandy Diaz leading off. He is one of 3 players the Rays have that are good against lefties, 2 of which have 200 ISO or better. He is one of them. So like Yandy at 41, Yandy, whatever. No disrespect. Sure. Christian Walker, 38. Has been better against righties lately. Can definitely play him. I've already said it. I think the Cardinals are probably the most underrated stack of the day. I love Wilson Contreras. $3,900. Burke has a righty problem. Has a problem getting outs to begin with, but sure. Has an issue there. So I like Wilson Contreras quite a bit. Unfortunately, can't play Kurtz today. It's an easy plug.
Would you play Mead at 2,500? Maybe more at second than first, I guess.
The numbers actually don't look good for him against lefties. So
they just keep playing him because they think they have to.
I don't know what happened to this team that used to be analytically driven. Because he has an 070 ISO and a 244 WOBA to lefties. Sure. Anything that starts O is usually not good. And then when you're WOBA, if it starts with a 2, it's also not good. And even the expected stuff is not good. So
well, don't tell that to the field. 3rd highest ranked rostered first baseman today. So.
I will say I get it because, well, he has the multi-position eligibility helps.
Yeah, of course.
But like we had the question about Rogers from Rusty. Like the Rays are bad against lefties. I'm kind of indifferent about Rogers because he hasn't looked good at AAA. Righties have a 280 average against him. He's allowed 3 home runs against him this year. So it's like he got shelled against righties last year at the major league level and now can't pitch against him in the minors. What does that tell you about he had one good spot start. There's a reason why that spot start didn't extend into like a sustainability.
Yeah.
He needed pitching at the time. Like they don't have pitching and they still sent him down, right? Like that should tell you what you need to know about where Trevor Rogers is.
You gave up serious prospects.
Right.
Well for him, so.
And gave up the prospects, started the year in AAA, got called up, pitched well, and they're so down on him that they send him back down. So
spot start only, yeah, exactly.
And so it's not my favorite thing. So I get one, I don't like him, Rusty. And then 2, I get why people would play him, but I think there's other pieces of Tampa I'd rather get to, but he's hitting first base, second eligibility. I understand it.
All right. Let's go on over to second base here then. Again, looking at ownership for today, Jose Altuve, again, as we would expect, one of the highest rostered players of the day. He does have dual positional eligibility, which assists him. Didn't come through against JP Sears and company last night. Did come through the game before that. Are you back in on Altuve versus Severino, or is there a different second baseman that you're looking to play today?
Yeah, for sure in on Altuve. It's 97 degrees at first pitch. 97. Houston hits first.
Yeah.
They are going to hit in really warm weather against a guy who can't pitch in his home ballpark, struggles mightily with right-handed bats. It's just...
Do you bet the over on the Nerfy today? Over the half.
You could definitely bet the over on the Nerfy. That seems like a good bet. If you're not playing him, like Brendan Donovan, I think looks amazing. I know I keep talking St. Louis, but it's going to keep talking St. Louis.
Hitting 320 with a 900 OPS.
Yeah,
800 OPS.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable all year. He's leading off because Nootbaar has fallen off a cliff, but Donovan hasn't, and he looks great. Burke again has been a really bad pitcher this year. So and things look even worse than they do surface level, which surface level doesn't look good either. So I really like the Cards, really like Brendan Donovan at 4K. That's probably the direction I'd go if I'm not playing Altuve.
All right. Value for today, where obviously we were looking at Cincinnati, Minnesota yesterday. That game looking unlikely, obviously, now to suit up. So do you find, you talk Jimenez, India, anything like that for you for value today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the Kansas City side of things. So like all this chalk that Kansas City is, all this ownership that Kansas City is bringing in, I'm against the field there. So Jonathan India continues to be a disappointment, just kind of how he's been since his rookie campaign, right? One rookie of the year and just hasn't been as good since. Not playing Semien, all the stuff in Cincinnati is unfortunate. They have there's 4 second basemen you can play in this game, and none of them are actually viable because I would say the only other name is Nolan Gorman. That would be a guy I'd play, and he's been better lately, and we know that he's another streaky player that hits for a lot of power when he's going well.
Yeah.
So would I play Nolan? It's a situation that we've had a lot lately, the last couple of years, right? On DraftKings specifically, because Brendan Donovan and Nolan Gorman are not both playing second base. It's obvious, but both have second base eligibility. So would you rather play Donovan or Gorman? You'd obviously rather play Brendan Donovan, but if you don't have the money, I think Nolan Gorman's a pretty decent option. Damn, there's a big update here to the Roth report, and St. Louis, Chicago, both Chicago games are now
red,
fully orange.
Fully orange, yeah.
The Yankees game has now moved to orange. The Mets Braves game is now
went from green
orange.
yellow to yellow orange, yeah.
So yeah, I mean the problem with pitchers in seems like the St. Louis Chicago White Sox game would be the most likely game to play out of the 2 Chicago games, because Milwaukee, Chicago obviously are going to play again this year.
Yeah.
But I think the bats probably fine in St. Louis, Chicago. And I think the bats could be fine Milwaukee, Chicago, but we'll see.
I mean, again, we have to do our best to navigate. This is a slate now that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with a good chance to have some either delayed start or in-game delay on 11 games. So navigating the weather is going to be huge. Might shift just even more ownership to these later games where there is no weather concern, and kind of working your way sort of in and out. Playing Arizona, Toronto, or playing, Houston in the Athletics, or San Diego and LA, Cleveland, San Francisco. Maybe those games become more appealing from a hitter perspective tonight, since there's no danger of rain impacting those ones.
Yeah. Couple things. Patrick Corbin definitely has improved since the spider bite. That's obviously the narrative we're buying into.
Did he get bit by a spider? I don't know that. I don't know that one.
Yeah. You said it, I think.
I said it?
Yeah, he was bit by a spider during the recent stretch of good pitching.
Oh.
And then he became Spider-Man, and now he's been unstoppable. This
forgot.
is a 10-game span. 10 games ago, he got bit by a spider. On his pitching hand or something. It was
I'll 100% buy into it. So
yeah. Then Yankee stack for me tonight. Darren, you're not alone. I mean, they're popular, and lefties really kill Jack Kahanowitz. He is not a good pitcher, but there's obviously inherent risk with an offense that has been unable to hit the baseball. And then Justin said Milwaukee bats. I mean, we like Taillon. You could play.
I mean, that game has to play, but Davis and Taillon shown you nothing to suggest that he is about to get hammered or anything. He gives up a home run.
Yeah, you could play a one-off and hope you pick the home run correctly.
Yeah.
Right, because he gives up home runs, but there's nothing suggesting Jamison Taillon is suddenly going to explode. So we're on opposite sides today. I see through you. So hopefully one of us finishes first.
All right, let's go on to the third. Jose Ramirez against Verlander, 59. Machado versus Sheehan at 53. Devers had 2 hits in his debut against Allen at $5,200. Chisholm hitting 5th tonight against Kahanowitz at 51. You looking to spend up at the spot today?
No, but you can. I mean, Ramirez is great. Verlander's been bad when he's been on the mound. Shaheen's making his debut. Yeah. You can definitely attack him. Jazz looks good against Kahanowitz because Kahanowitz has a lefty problem. So you can play any of them. I think the mid-tier is where I'd want to go, though. Like the guys below Jazz, I want to play.
Sure. We've obviously talked third base. There's Eugenio Suarez versus Lauer. We know that our guy Ernie Clement's down here at 35, hitting 6th tonight against Erod at $3,500. Jordan Westburg's been awesome at 39, hitting 2nd tonight. I would imagine those are some guys that make your player pool this evening.
Did you say Isaac Paredes?
I did not. I didn't say Paredes or Muncy. I was figuring I'd lead that into you.
Yeah, those two would be the two. Wrote both of them up in the playbook you can find at fantasyalarm.com today. I mean, dude, like it was a slow start for Paredes, and after a bad year last year, it made you think like, what happened to the guy in Tampa from a couple years ago? Well, he's back.
Yeah.
And he absolutely hammers right-handed pitching. So I think Paredes, core play, and then the Muncy, just factoring in how good Muncy's been. And I think the most impressive thing, Muncy's been really good even without like homering lately. And we know the homers they come in bunches. Like he has multiple. I'd like to know without looking how many guys currently in Major League Baseball have more home run games than Max Muncy, because I bet you it's a small list because he has
Kyle Raleigh probably. Like that might be it.
Judge,
maybe Judge. Yeah.
I mean, just like from the start of their career, Schwarber. Like I would say it's a small list. But I love Muncy and the power. I mean, again, Kolek over 2 home runs per 9 innings. We talk about Dodger Stadium and the power all the time. So, I mean, from basically Austin Riley, Suarez, Paredes, Caminero, Muncy, Westburg, I'd play any and all of those. And we haven't even gotten to Miss Earn Dog Millionaire here at $3,500, who
some pretty good numbers versus lefties.
Without look, do you know what the OPS is? Do you know?
It's got to be over 1,000, right?
If you had to guess, what would you just guess?
1084.
And then what would you guess his ISO is against lefties?
335.
What would you guess the WOBA is?
478.
Close on all fronts. You were low, high, low.
Okay.
He has 1172 OPS.
Okay.
So if you want to round up 1,200.
Yeah, I said 1083.
That's crazy. He has a 319 ISO.
Okay.
Also leads the team.
330 there?
330, yeah. So slightly higher, but like super crazy elite. Yeah. And then he has a 494 WOBA against left-handed pitching.
What did I say? 470 something?
470 something. I mean, dude,
I did not look. I just completely kind of ballparked.
Yeah, all very good guesses.
I'm really good at guessing the number of things something could be. So,
I mean, dude, it's crazy how good he's been against lefties. So, it's funny to me because he's not getting any ownership. And I get it because third is so good and like short's so good. And if he was second base eligible, maybe that's different, right? Maybe he gets the eligible or the ownership. But this is a guy who gets highly rostered against lefties every slate. And on today's slate, at $3,500, he's getting no ownership whatsoever for a guy with a 1,200 OPS. That's better than all your favorite third basemen, guys. Like, that's all the third basemen you could possibly spend on tonight. This guy, Ernie freaking Clement, has a better OPS than all of them.
Yeah.
Better ISO than all of them. Better WOBA than all of them. So, I don't know, man. Like, that's good enough for me. $3,500. You need to double spend pitcher. Guess where you go to save some money? You go to save some money here. I know that obviously means you're possibly not playing Paredes. or you're possibly not playing, insert a shortstop that you probably want to play.
Sure.
But I don't know. He's cheaper than all of them, and he's better than all of them. At least he has been this year.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Is there another value at there that you'd look to, or do we go to short here?
Oh, it doesn't. No, we don't need it. Earn dog is all the value we need today, Johnny.
Well, we go to shortstop. We can't play Ellie anymore. That game's likely not happening. Lindor versus Sale. Obviously, I don't think we're in the market of just challenging Chris Sale. You have Nato versus Yarbrough, Bobby Witt versus Corbin, Jacob Wilson against Framber, again, Mookie versus Kolek, Pena against Severino there, Gunnar versus Bradley.
Good baseball players.
Everyone.
Every single one of them. I mean, like you said, you could probably nitpick and not play Lindor against Chris Sale, but Francisco Lindor has also been super elite against lefties his whole career. So if that was your solo shot, would you be surprised? Lindor leads the game off with a home run and Sale mows him down for 6 straight scoreless innings and 10 strikeouts? No. Yeah, I mean, Neto's been elite against lefties. Witt homered last night. Maybe that jump starts him. Back-to-back multi-hit games. Jacob Wilson slumping. I mean, hasn't had a hit in 5 at-bats.
So did he get taken out of yesterday's game? What happened there?
I don't know. I don't know. But he started the game. I don't know what happened.
Not on the injury report.
Not on the injury report. Pena, I mean, they got house, so it could have been just got lifted. Pena 48 looks great. Gunner's been really good. You could play any of those dudes.
Mid-range for you here?
I don't know. You could play Bichette. I think he looks okay. You could play Caballero. He's the other Tampa Bay Ray in the lineup with the 200 ISO or better against lefties.
Yep.
Which is hilarious. A homered off Framber, if you remember, that leadoff home run against Framber. Or it was reviewed and it was a double. I don't know, whatever it was.
They pulled Caminero and I lost him on, and then he tripled.
Yeah, they tripled. The one thing with Caballero that we know is that he's live to be pinch hit for at some point in this game, right? If a righty's in, Caballero might not be in the lineup. But you could just play Correa or Earn Dog here, because I think, to be honest, without Ellie on the slate, I think it opens things up more for shortstop, right?
Sure.
You could, because we were very bullish on Ellie. We were very, very bullish on the Reds in general in the ballpark. Yeah. And now with that game basically being crossed off the list, I don't know if Roth tweeted anything different or if he just tweeted his update. He didn't. He just said it's tweeted the update, which the update is red, orange.
Everything's red.
So yeah, so you can just but Correa would be the guy. You can't really play him, so it's just really Earn Dog. If you do want to play St. Louis, obviously Mason Wynn's hitting second. He's been okay against righties, and I just really, really, really like St. Louis. So if you want to play him because he fits the stack, you can play him there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Outfield. Obviously, a lot of top end talent here. It's a large slate. Weather, I guess, could dictate where you do and don't go. Again, we had liked Buxton. We can't really play that game anymore unless you're just going super contrarian with the weather. Do you have, I mean, obviously Judge, Acuna, Ohtani are all top plays. Do you have a specific man in mind here?
I mean, it would be those three. I would play Ohtani first of them. But it's hard to think that picking between them is impossible. But just the home run to fly ball rate that Kolek allows to lefties and all the power he's allowed to lefties in Dodger Stadium is terrible. Anthony, I've literally talked about the Cardinals the entire show, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's said about 1,500 times Cardinals are one of his favorite teams that are going overlooked today.
Literally all show.
You've mentioned Gorman, you've mentioned Donovan, you've mentioned Contreras, you've mentioned Herrera. Dude, you didn't say Arenado, I guess. So
sorry, didn't talk. You're right. You know what? On me, John. I didn't mention all 9.
He said all the first 4 guys.
Don't worry, we'll get to. There's 3 outfielders we can pick from too. I'll talk about all them.
Have dual positional eligibility.
No, R.I.P. Burleson's first base no longer. Just outfield. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Ohtani would be first, Acuna second, Judge third. But like,
sure,
if you want to play Judge, play Judge. Like he's good. He's
Yep. I wouldn't even be scared of Mizorowski if you think that game plays. I mean, I get it, super talented guy, but say PCA, Kyle Tucker, all elite. If you wanted to go there, you could. Like that's
and to that, if Mizorowski gets start and stopped, and we just get like the game continues and he's done, and then you're facing
the bullpen,
insert long man for the Brewers, right? I mean, stay away from Trevor McGill, and you're probably in a good spot there.
Sure. All right, mid-range.
Yeah, man, I love Friedel. Can't go there. You can play Bellinger. He's been terrible, but you can play him. I don't have like a ton of. We haven't talked Braves. I do like the Braves righties against Blackburn. That's been the spot. So like the Riley, Acuna, Ozuna stack per usual looks pretty good. Yeah. I think we could be in line for a Springer dinger tonight. He has been specifically good against lefties this year, and specifically for power. 255 ISO, to left-handed or against left-handed pitching. And Erod, dude, a lot of fly balls, like so many fly balls this year. So
we did just get an ownership update.
Okay.
Chris Sale is still number 1. Sonny Gray is now your number 2.
Bubic 3.
Yeah, dropped off on the value. The weather, I think, is obviously impacting some of this. Framber's 20%. Taj is still 21. Bubic 24% now. So yeah, just a little ownership update on the pitching side of things there.
Yeah. So Springer, Altuve. Like you could play the Yankees lefties. That would be specific to what I'd like. The lefties. Obviously, you're including Judge.
Yeah.
Obviously. Jake Myers, he looks pretty good here at 4K. And then you start dropping like Caballero, we talked about, looks good.
Yeah, question on Barger. Now, this is lefty. You mentioned Erod getting hit by lefties, and obviously Barger flashing power still. So would you play him?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, dude, lefties against Erod this year, 214 ISO, 364 WOBA. It has not been a good season for Erod. Now, Barger, me, you, and all of our viewers have the same amount of home runs against lefties.
Okay, so it's 0.
0. Unless we have somebody in the chat that plays professional baseball.
Wouldn't it be the first time? We've had Joel Pinheiro in our in our chats before.
Yep. So I'm not against Barger. I wouldn't play him as a one-off. He would fit my Toronto stack because the 1 through 5 in that lineup looks good, right? It's 1 through 6 really with Earn Dog being there. So like if I'm stacking Toronto, he's included in a stack. Same thing with Dominguez. Like he looks good in a Yankee stack. Lourdes looks good against the lefty hitting 3rd. Laureano hitting 4th. Talked about it yesterday. Ramon Laureano has been really good against right-handed pitching in the lineup again yesterday. 2 for 4, 2 RBI, hitting in the middle of their lineup like clockwork. He has been great. Where's my boy? Victor Scott, 34. Alec Burleson, 3,300. That guy.
Hey, hitting over 300 now. What do you know?
Is raking. I really like Burleson, 33. But again, I haven't given enough respect to the cards. So here I am, Victor Scott and Burleson. John, yesterday was our day.
It was. Cam Smith.
It was our day. Nobody talks Cam Smith as much as we talk Cam Smith.
I noticed an individual pounced on him in free agency today in our fantasy baseball.
Yes, it was really fast.
Yeah. 4 hits, 2 homers. Guy learned to not hit ground balls, but hit fly balls instead. Dude, man, good. Play them. Play them. We say it every show. Sometimes we say it as a joke, but not really. like we kid, but like no. This is the dude they got for Kyle Tucker.
Right.
So,
primary him and Wisniewski, but like Wisniewski was like, yeah, you have him too. This is your prized possession. This guy right here, like, gonna hit 40 home runs. Now, did hit a home run against a righty. That's great. Very good against lefties.
Yeah.
Like, really good against lefties. The numbers against lefties are popping. The righties don't look great, but it's really obviously a positive that the righties, that he did hit the home run against a righty.
Agreed.
I also thought I saw a notification that he stole the base. I don't see that here. He does have a couple steals as well.
Yep.
But yeah, Cam Smith.
Rich, I get $2,800 is down here.
Yep.
Again, David Schneider against Erod, $2,500 if you just want more Blue Jays exposure. Last year he was pretty good. This year he hasn't been, but it was last year. All right, let's get a core. Give me your core.
Brendan Donovan.
Okay.
Chris Bubich. Sorry, I'm not going in any type of order. I'm just trying to. I'm just spitballing.
Any Houston versus Sevilla core play for you today?
Probably most Houston. The first thing I wrote, John, in the playbook that you can find at fancyalarm.com for subscribers in the core MLB DFS hitter section is in all caps, Astros, ! Lots of them, !
Okay. So lots of them go like
that's how I broke it down. So look, I think this is how I would do it. Paredes at third. Earndog at short is how I would do it.
Okay.
And I know that means no Jeremy Pena, but I think there's enough other Houston that we could play to.
Sure. Want to give the people one more, and we'll call it a core.
Yeah, let's go. Let's see. Let's go Burleson. I really like St. Louis, dude.
I was saying, did you want to do like Yarbrough and then let them figure out the hitting, or do you want to go Burleson?
I think this is a double spend pitcher slate.
Okay.
I think there's so many good double pitchers. As Anthony says, I'm a Cub fan. Hated to give up on Cam Smith. I think that will become extra bad if Kyle Tucker doesn't sign.
Okay. Yes. Agreed.
Giving
up prospects for 1 year and not signing that player is a bad get.
Yeah.
Right, Juan Soto? Yeah, right, Juan Soto. Or if you're the Padres and you trade for him, give up all that and then trade him away.
That's the one right there. The Padres trade from the Nationals is the one.
All right, core plays. We'll have the full lineup in the Discord. Bubich, Donovan, Paredes, Clement, Burleson. Watch the weather, ladies and gentlemen, today.
Yes.
Have your alerts turned on. We'll make sure to update you in the Discord if things go south with some of these games weather-wise. But until then, we'll have the preview show tonight. I don't think we're live tomorrow, but we'll confirm that on the preview show. But I don't think we are live tomorrow. We'll catch you back live on Friday. We'll see you then.